morning, and thank you for joining me for another episode of Morning Coffee. I'm Casey, and this is my crazy simple life. Still more crazy than simple, and it's probably going to be for a couple years, but every day, work in progress. And in the last morning coffee, I talked about having cleaned up my front room and my dining room and organizing my books and decluttering my books. Yes, child. Both of my children are homeschooled, and school started about 10 minutes ago. And the reason I am still sitting out here in my rocking chair instead of in there making sure they're actually doing what they're supposed to be doing is because when I was decluttering my books, apparently I twisted my hip when I was carrying one of the book boxes. And that happens to me sometimes. I have hyperflexible joints, which most of the time is very beneficial. It gives me an extra 10 to 15% mobility on my joints. But sometimes it means that my joints slide out of place really easily. And I'm sorry about all the light glare. The sun is currently rising, so it's pretty early. So yeah, I've been stuck in my chair most of yesterday, and I actually ended up coming out here at about 3 in the morning and sleeping in my chair, which involved this coat and a couple of nice warm comforters, because this chair is the only chair in the house other than our dining room chairs that has a firm bottom and a firm back instead of thick cushions, which are very uncomfortable for me right now. I need the support of something solid. So you lost your math book. And apparently this morning for Corvin, everything is a disaster. So it's going to be one of those days, I guess. I am very disappointed. I was really looking forward to this week. I don't work this week. This is a week off for me. And so I was really looking forward to spending this week, working on my house, doing more decluttering, getting a lot of stuff done. And instead, I'm stuck in my chair. But my older son, as you can tell, my computer's on my lap. My older son has actually been a great deal of help. He's, been running and fetching stuff for me, making coffee. But maybe this was also kind of a good thing, because I've noticed a tendency, and not just in moms, in a lot of women in general, to want to be superwoman, essentially, to get everything done, to be perfect at everything, to have a full-time job, a perfect home, the most well-behaved kids, beautiful this, everything that. There's a lot of pressure to be everything that social media tells us we should be. And that's one of the reasons why I kind of wanted to make these videos a little more real, because you look at a lot of YouTube videos when it comes to minimalism and getting your life organized, and it seems like everybody's completely got it together. What I was really looking for was something that felt more real, something that was less just an informational video, but kind of like, come spend the day with me and watch the ups, watch the downs. And right now is definitely one of the downs, because I can hardly walk at the moment. And so I'm still going to be going through and sorting my laundry today. But I'm definitely not going to be doing any decluttering today, except for the laundry, because that doesn't require a lot of lifting or carrying. It's all already in the living room. And speaking of the living room, in my last video, I said I was going to bring you guys along while I decluttered and cleaned my living room. And my sister invited me over for dinner, so my children and I went over to my sister's for dinner. And when I got back, Mike had cleaned the living room. So I still need to do some decluttering, but it is nice and clean. All the Christmas stuff is taken down and put away. which was very, very sweet of him. I love when he just does stuff like that randomly. It's really nice. It makes me feel really cared about. And speaking of care, that's another thing I'd wanted to talk about, is I was getting ready to set up this video. I had my laptop set up on my lap, and I turned the camera on, and I took one look at myself and went, oh my gosh, because I haven't looked at myself in the mirror yet this morning. And something my oldest sister has gotten me started on is putting on a little bit of makeup in the mornings. And I've never been a big makeup person. I've never worn a lot of makeup, and up until recently, only on special occasions. She bought me some very nice eyeshadow for Christmas. It is Vise Art. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. It is a completely vegan, and if I remember correctly, cruelty-free, which is very important. And it is a neutral color palette, which is the colors I use when I wear makeup. And she got me this lovely set of brushes. And she told me, she's like, Casey, you need to start taking better care of yourself. You know, you take care of everyone around you, but you don't take care of you. So I want you to just put on a little bit of makeup in the morning. I have found over the last couple of weeks doing that you know, I treat myself differently throughout the day. I'm a little nicer to myself and a little more forgiving of myself. And I think that's because first thing in the morning, you know, I take a few minutes and I do something nice for myself. And you're not going to do something nice for somebody you don't like. And you're not going to do something caring for somebody you don't love. So taking a few minutes in the morning to care for yourself and to do something nice for yourself, I have found, is making a big difference in how I treat myself for the rest of the day. You know, I'm a little more forgiving of myself if I can't get my entire to-do list done. I'm a little more understanding if, well, like for instance today, for my hip hurts a lot and I can barely walk. So obviously I can't go do the dishes and cook dinner and all of that kind of stuff. And if this had happened a month ago, I would just be beating myself up. I would be so angry. And right now I'm disappointed and I'm upset because this is work that needed to get done, that I wanted to get done. But I'm not beating myself up about it. I mean, and it only takes me 2 minutes to put it on, because it really is just a little bit. But it sets a tone of, I care about me. You know, I'm important too. Okay, well, I completely lost what I was saying because I had an itch, and I had my jacket and my shirt and my pants and a blanket and a tray and my laptop between me and the itch. So I had to pause everything, move everything, scratch the itch, put everything back, and I completely lost what I was saying. So my coffee's almost empty. I guess that means it's time for water. But one of the things I've definitely picked up over the last several months is that everybody has their own way. And everybody shares their method or a commonly accepted method, but it's really up to the individual person to decide what's right for them. And I've found that I like to cherry pick from the different methods. Yes, honey. 7 is not a lot, honey. School. Fly Lady is a website that I got turned on to about 6 years ago. At that particular point in my life, my husband had just left, and I had a 3-year-old and a 4-month-old, and I was in way over my head, and I had no idea what I was doing all by myself and how I was going to do everything. And I stumbled upon Fly Lady's website. Anyway, sorry. I stumbled on Fly Lady's website, And she has a lot of really good tips, but not a lot of it worked for me. Like one of her things is every morning, as soon as you get up, you get dressed into lace-up shoes and you get going. And that works great for her, and that's wonderful. And I'm sure it works great for a lot of people, but it doesn't work for me. Because I found that when I got myself dressed and moving, as soon as I got out of bed, it got me into a mode where if my day wasn't absolutely as productive as it could be, and I wasn't doing something every minute of the day, then I felt I had failed. And life isn't about just getting as much out of every single day as you possibly can. I find that my days go a lot better if I get up and I stay in my pajamas for a little bit. You know, I sit quietly, I drink a glass of water, maybe I listen to some music, because the moment I wake up, my brain is moving. And I've got a million things going through it all at once. And if I just take 10 or 15 minutes to sit quietly and let that calm down, then I have a much better day. But if I try to get myself moving right away while that is still happening, then I generally end up having a very rushed, very busy day that is busy because I'm making it busy and I'm trying to take on too much. But one of the things from her website that I learned from her that I really do enjoy is the forming of habits and making good habits. And it takes 21 days of doing something consistently every day to form a habit. So she does something called Habit of the Month. And that's something I've adopted on my calendar. I focus on that one habit for the month. And, you know, there may be others that I try to incorporate, but I'm very firm about the habit that I have written on the calendar. And this month's is something that everyone in this house, except Mike, is really bad at. And it's when you're finished with something, put it away. I am just as guilty as my children of leaving stuff out. January's habit for me, and that I'm trying to get the children in the habit of, but mostly I'm focusing on me when it comes to the habit of the month, is when you're finished with something, put it away. You know, I'll cook dinner and half of the ingredients are still sitting out on the counter when I'm getting ready to serve. I'll fold the laundry and I'll leave a stack of hangers sitting on the table. And I think that that will go a very long way towards helping keep my house tidy. You know, some methods of decluttering say you should focus on one room at a time. Some methods of decluttering say you should focus on a certain type of item at any given time. And depending on what I'm doing, I kind of pick and choose. Like as mentioned before, if I can't find a home for an item in one room that I'm not sure I'm ready to let go of, it'll move to the next room on my list in my decluttering week. And that's how I go from room to room. But for things like my books, which were scattered all around the house in various bookshelves in various rooms, those I went through all the books at one time, even though it was in 4 different rooms of my house. Now, all of my personal books are on the bookshelf in the front room, which is kind of my area. And all of my children's books are on a bookshelf in their bedroom. And all of my cookbooks are on a shelf for cookbooks in my kitchen. Well, I have babbled at everybody for long enough. Thank you for joining me today for morning coffee, and I will see you later for day 2 of the 7-day Simplify Your Life challenge and for decluttering laundry with my children. Have a wonderful, blessed day. Bye.